Hello, everyone, to my family, to the starseeds, to the way showers, to the light workers, to the gatekeepers, to the guardians of New Earth, to the galactic shamans. I welcome you if you're new, and I thank everyone else for joining me again. I'm so grateful to be on this magical journey with you all. So the first thing I want to preface with in this video is that everything you guys hear me share is an offshoot of being a dot. When I did the webinar Be a Dot a few months ago and I completed it, first off, I was pretty nervous going into it because I had so much information that wanted to pour through me and I wanted to make sure that it all got out there. But again, it's like a snowball thing. It's constantly building on itself. And the 9 said to me when I completed that webinar, and I was so proud of it, they said, "You did it." And the way they said it was like, I can retire now. It was really odd, okay? And I didn't put 2 and 2 together until about 3 weeks ago. I was having a cup of coffee in the morning and they communicated with me that Be a Dot is the main teaching that I'm going to be bringing forward onto this planet in this incarnation. They said to me that it dots all the I's and it crosses all the T's. And truly, I haven't really found any leaks in it. It's a quantum teaching in foundation, and it's what has truly enabled me to become multidimensional. The reason I share this is because if you haven't seen it, it's important to watch it if you resonate with my messages, because that's the foundation. It's like the baseline of everything else I share. All these YouTube videos I do are offshoots of Be a Dot. So I'm not going to give you an elaborate explanation on what Be a Dot is or what it means to me and how it works. So if you want to see that, I would suggest going to feelgoodlife.com/webinars, and it's only $25. You don't have to watch it, but what the guys were showing me today is like, there was a movie that came out called Fantastic Beasts, The Crimes of Grindelwald, and that was inspired by Harry Potter, or like a spin-off of Harry Potter. Everything I share is a spin-off of the foundation of the base of the cake and all the sprinkles I share with you guys. So feelgoodlife.com/webinars. Today, this is also, everything I share is connected to being a dot. All right, so I've done a video about 3D and 5D and breaking it down for you guys in a very simplistic way. This is going to be similar, but I'm going to tackle it from a different angle. Okay? All of our suffering, or most of it, I should say, stems from linearity. It stems from operating within a linear mindset, a linear mentality that then shapes your reality. What does this mean exactly? All right. Your mental body is constantly generating algorithms. It's kind of like Google. Google knows, it sends you all these different ads, and most of them are very much in sync with who you are because they've studied you. They know you. They know you. So when a new video pops up, they're like, yep, I think I might watch that, because they study the ins and outs of all that you are. So now imagine that there's an extraterrestrial force, reptilian in nature, and I'm not very conspiratorial. I just want to give you, everything I share as a perspective. So disclosure, everyone, or disclaimer for everyone that is watching me, everything I share is a perspective. I do not lock myself into anything, and I use a lot of metaphors. These metaphors are not literal, so don't take them literally. Don't take them out of context and then put them in a box, because that's not what it is. It's about transmitting a frequency through these metaphors. All right. So your mind, your third dimensional mind, which is a wonderful device if it's utilized properly, creates all these different algorithms like Facebook or Google. And imagine that there's an extraterrestrial force that already knows, it's like a chessboard, it already knows what move you're going to make. So your mind splits off into all these different potentials. These potentials drive us to ask questions like, when is my person going to arrive? What is my purpose? Why did this happen to me? What's going to happen to me? How will it happen? When is it going to happen? You get the idea. The reason for this is because the mind is linear. It's linear. It produces all these different potentialities. And if you're not anchored in all that you are, if you're not looking at your life from the 0-point field, being a dot is bringing yourself back to 0-point field. Let me reframe that. Being a dot, becoming a dot is coming back to the 0-point field. Being a dot is operating from the 0-point field. And what the 9 are always showing me is that, remember those protractors we had in geometry class where you would like plant it and then you could go around and around like in a 360 degree? 3 plus 6 is 9, by the way. 3, 6, 0, 9. Being a dot would be the center point, where you can observe all these different algorithms and all these different timeline potentials without getting vacuumed into them. So the ego mind, the mind, is a wonderful device if it's utilized correctly. So we don't want to just disregard that the mind is a part of us. It will always be a part of us. It's actually there to help you. It's how you respond to it. It's what you do with the information that streams into it. Think of it as a bucket, and there's all these different paint colors that come in. They're like informational energies. And if you find that 0 point within yourself, which is the observer, the spectator of your reality, then you'll be able to see all the algorithms without getting rolled up in them. Is this making sense so far? All right. So let's say that you have a propensity to fall for the guy who's a bad guy, who's emotionally unavailable. This extraterrestrial force already knows that. It's going to utilize your mind to create all these different timelines that wobble you out of alignment, because you keep looking for that person, or you think that you need to go to this party or that party or this party to find this person. So these timelines are painted onto your canvas, but then rather than maintaining your vibration and deciding that you don't have to choose anything, you can just be in the middle. You can just be in the 0 point field in full trust that the universe will deliver to you what is appropriate for you at the right time. Okay? In full trust that the universe will deliver to you what is appropriate for you at the right time. Everything has a divine order, you guys. But what humans do is they get so physically focused that they have these arrows pointing outwardly, and every arrow, this is just coming to me now, every arrow is pointing to a different timeline potential. These potentials are generated through your mind, but your mind is how the reptilian consciousness is able to harvest your energy. Hey, go get really, really annihilated right now. Go get super drunk. And you see the potential in your mind, and you just get absorbed into that timeline and disempower yourself. Now, again, I want to stress this because there's nothing wrong with getting soccered, okay? There is nothing wrong with sex. There is nothing wrong with anything. We've gotten out of the wrong, right, wrong. That's duality. That's a duality reality. But it isn't a duality reality if you keep disempowering yourself. It means you're caught in duality. If you're able to find that space of neutrality, which is akin to being in the center point, then you get to decide what thoughts you want to embark upon, what timeline you want to jump on, or maybe you won't jump onto any of them and you'll remain as a dot until the universe brings to you, through your magnetic resonance, what is meant for you. So linearity is this. These ETs that may not have your best interest at heart, but again, I want to also say this. Everything just is. It's how you respond to it. So from a different viewpoint, you can say that these reptilian energies, some call them the Anunnaki, whatever, it doesn't matter. You can't point a finger at them because from a different dimensional perspective, if you rise up to the occasion and you look at them in the face, meaning you look at these algorithms in the face and you're like, I see it. It's a trapping system. I'll probably call this video trapping systems. It's a trapping system. Why would they want to vacuum you into a timeline that may not hold the highest resonance? Meaning we always see these different potentials in our mind, all of us. Okay? We all have these things. I did a client yesterday with someone that was really afraid because her biological clock was ticking and she's like, when am I going to find this guy? These are all trapping systems. I get it. Look, I understand. I've been through so much in my life. It's not easy. It's not easy. When you have your clock ticking or when you're in a really precarious situation in life, there's so much I want to share with you guys about myself, but it's just not time yet. And the reason it's not time is because I want to make sure that I don't endanger myself in any way. And I'll share it in due time. But it's probably why you can see my bed behind me right now. I'm planning on moving soon, but there's a lot that ties into this, okay? So it's tough. You know, your biological clock is ticking. You're afraid. Guess what happens? If you're afraid, you're not in alignment anymore. These reptilians will use that fear to have you create all these different timelines and all these fears. And then you might keep going out for dates because you're desperate. Does that sound like the right approach? Probably not, because you should never do anything out of desperation or out of a dire need. And so why would they want to do this to you? Why would they want to do this to you? Well, because if the highest dimensional timeline is such that if you can just learn how to be present, that's how you would magnetize and draw to you the love of your life. And it can all happen in an instant. You meet someone tomorrow at Whole Foods because you're just being, you're following that intuitive technology, and out of left field, someone pops up and you're like, oh, do you want family? I want family too. And within a year, you guys have a baby. Humans, because they haven't activated their full stranded DNA, they're easily manipulated. Easily. A reptilian energy can convince you that you're not an alcoholic when you are. A reptilian energy can also convince you that you are an alcoholic when you're not. I've gotten visions. I have no problem with drugs or alcohol or anything. I'm just saying that I've had a lot of friends that are in program. I promise you that there's probably 1 or 2 people in there, in that program, that are not alcoholics. But because they're now in the program and they've created all these bonds with people, that they actually think they're an alcoholic. A reptilian energy, this is not a linear game, you guys. That's my point. This is not a linear game. There's nothing linear about this. This existence is quantum. So, let's say that you have a very high dimensional timeline where you say, I'm throwing in the towel, I surrender, I'm done trying, I'm done forcing things forward. I'm just going to be now. I'm done. I'm going to be in full union with my higher self. I'm going to merge with all of the aspects of who I am, which would never panic, because every time you panic or every time you stress about your situation in life, whether it's a job or a friendship that's toxic, that is not being present. That's a form of hurting yourself. Do you think that God or source would want you to stress out about when you're going to meet someone? Of course not. The universe wants what you want. I need to make that crystal clear. The universe wants what you want. Your desires have an intelligence. Your desires are going to be brought forward when you're ready to handle them. So if you're easily thrown off kilter through things that aren't going your way, from the overview, it makes complete sense that things aren't going your way, because it's an opportunity to grow and come into more trust with your universe. The majority of people on this planet have not activated their observational technology to examine all the different thoughts that crowd into your awareness. They haven't. Which is why drama will follow them everywhere. Which is why questions like, when is this going to happen? How will it happen? Who will it be? Arise. When you are present, when you're a dot, nothing else exists. And yet the entire universe is at your fingertips. Why? Because your mind can brilliantly create all these algorithms. It's not always influenced by an extraterrestrial force, okay? It can be influenced by your higher self, okay? Your higher self is putting you to the test. It wants to see how much dignity you have. It wants to see if you're able to initiate yourself into a higher level of consciousness, into a higher octave of consciousness. So, when you are present and nothing else exists, you don't ask questions like, when will this happen? You become such a magnet that all these different timeline possibilities start to get generated through your mind, or I should say your higher mind. At that point, it's your higher mind. And then you can observe them all, and they can actually teach you, hey, Phil, in 3 months, this is going to happen, and we need you to get ready for that. You see what I'm saying? My first podcast was with, I believe, Shaman Jurek. And months before that, I knew something was about to happen. I was shown, get ready. So my mind predicted what would happen. And thanks to that visual, I was able to equip myself and to connect with that timeline, to diffuse any nervousness, or to diffuse anything that was new for me. So that gave me the opportunity to neutralize that emotional charge. Everyone is capable of this. Everyone is capable of being an uber psychic. Everyone. You have a multi-galactic sensor. You can understand the inner workings of the universe. You know, different people will have different presentations. Some people will talk about the Greys or the Syrians and the galactic wars, which is really cool. Some people will have a different way of describing these energies. Maybe they'll talk about demons and angels. Maybe they'll talk about your higher self and you. Like, everyone has a different presentation. But there's usually a common thread between all of them when it comes from a wise place. When it comes from you observing all the different thoughts that then show you how all the dots connect. Thoughts, dots, that then show you how all the dots connect. How things work. How we were seeded by the Pleiadians and how they're seeing what we're doing, and how now we're seeding a new breed and they'll eventually go through what we're going through. You can see how it all connects. That's why I don't think it's always important that we go back and talk about the Anunnaki all day long or the history, but I also don't discredit that because it's beautiful if you resonate with that information. I know Barbara Marciniak, who's a wonderful channeler, by the way. If you guys aren't familiar with her, she was the first one I ever listened to. She gets really into the Anunnaki and the tyranny on this planet that's also affected the Pleiades. Personally, I don't feel called to talk about that stuff, but I can relate to everything she's sharing because I understand it through my own unique vibrational structure. And I share it like this, like these are my messages. This is how I understand the universe. It doesn't mean that I don't understand the universe if I don't talk about history, but history is here now for me. And it lives in everything I see from people, all the energies I read, and I'm able to kind of thread and put everything together. But I appreciate everyone who has their unique take because it's all pretty much the same thing. It's, can you become the master creator of your reality? Can you become the master creator of your reality? Can you find it in you to, rather than outrun these different thoughts or always look for a way out or an escape route, can you look at them and find where it is that you are trapped in an enslavement meme? Can you find where you're still trapped in an enslavement meme? Which thoughts have governance over you? Why are you about to go do what you're about to do? Have you questioned that? Because most of the time, if we're not fully awakened, where we can see everything, chances are you're getting sucked into different timelines. And why would the ETs, the reptilians, want you to get sucked into them? Think about it. Because it would prevent you from vibrating into the highest timeline via being present. Via being present. When you're confused, when you're panicking, when you're anxious, it means that you've believed, you've given credence to timelines that are false. They're not necessarily false if you energize them enough. They will become your reality. Okay? They're not necessarily false. They're just a potential. And when we give energy, when we give food to potentials, they will come alive. So, linearity has within it, it includes the when, the why, the what, the how, the who, the where, all those questions. There's nothing necessarily wrong with posing those questions if you're able to be in the 0 point, if you're able to analyze them and not act on any of them. That's my secret. I don't act on any of them. I'm like, my universe will bring me what is in resonance with my field based on where I'm vibrating from moment to moment. I don't concern myself with when, what, why, where. No. When you do that, it means there are a lot of entities that are using you as a drone to keep their empires alive. You're keeping their electricity running. They get energy from you when you act on these false timelines or these timelines that are not for your greatest good. They get energy from you. And then we usually get disappointed or really hurt. We go through a dark night of the soul and we know better. And then we get back up, and when we feel that temptation, we go, and we question it. That's evolution. But you don't always have to die over and over and over and over again to get to that place. Some would argue that you do, which would be true. The evolutionary process is a sequential process. There are levels to it. and I speak linearly now. There are levels to it. But if you took a moment and asked yourself, where's this thought coming from? Question everything. Then you would recognize that it's an algorithm or an ad that's popping up on your Google, and they're hoping that you buy it. Again, there's nothing wrong if you buy it. I'm just saying that it may block you from accessing a higher timeline. It may block you. It will not definitely block you, but it may block you. I've done so many sessions, and it's always, I don't know what to do next. I don't know what. It's okay to ask those questions because I will give you those predictions. I'm happy to. But I'm also going to point out from an objective standpoint, like objectively reading your energy, if you've kind of taken the bait one too many times and now you have these different entities attached to you. Too many timeline possibilities constantly pulling you up and down and left and right. I always say that, you are not a salad. I don't know what my quote is, but there's a quote I came up with a few months ago that was like, don't let your thoughts and emotions toss you around. You're not a salad. That's what it was. Don't let your thoughts and emotions toss you around. You're not a salad. Can you uphold a higher frequency? How can you know, right? How can you know if you're upholding a higher frequency? Because you feel peaceful. You feel joyful. You're not stressing about things. When you stress, when you panic, when you are fearful, those are alerting you that you're off path. Or that you're believing these fake timelines, these trapping systems. You're falling, you're getting encased by them. You are an unlimited being. You're limitless. A lot of people are afraid. They're really afraid to be present, and which is completely understandable. It's because we're afraid of the unknown. And what is the unknown, you guys? What is the unknown? It's your higher self. It's God. It's Source. It's the universe. It's the beings that are guiding you. We're so afraid to let go into the unknown, because that would mean sacrificing the part of you that wants to control everything. That would mean surrendering your ego. Your ego needs love. It needs to be reassured that you've got it. Like, I've got you. We don't need to go and participate in these different timelines that are streaming into our mind. Right here, we're doing this right now. Nothing else exists. This is it. And as you master present moment awareness, then you can have a lot of fun bouncing around and exploring these different terrains, these different timelines. You can retrieve all these treasures from these different algorithms. It's amazing. But you don't get defined by them. You don't get vacuumed into them. Multidimensionality is about being aware of everything around you. It's about being aware of the field as you speak. I can feel you guys as I speak. Sometimes I'll say things on purpose because there's something that needs to be pulled out of you guys, like an implant, or there's an entity that's there, and then I'll come right back and let you know you're loved. Being multidimensional is being aware of the field, not only with humans, but how every word, how every thought, how every action ripples through time and space. You can know who it's affecting. which is why I give thanks to everyone watching this right now, and to every teacher, and to everyone, to every mother, to every father, to every son, to every daughter, to every nurse, to everyone who is showing up with love. Because it's thanks to you that the grids are shifting. It's thanks to you that the changes are reverberating into the Pleiades, into the galactic core. We are doing this. We're all a part of this. All of us. Be aware of what's going on in your mental zip code. Who's sending these thoughts? Question that. Where are they coming from? Do they originate back many lifetimes? And they're afraid to be released, and maybe they're attacking you. Maybe they're saying you need to worry about your biological clock. You need to worry about whether you're going to be able to leave your job. But it's not true. There's nothing to worry about. When we try to control everything, you might meet that person overnight, and that's not going to make the control go away. So your universe is testing you right now. It's giving you a lot. You're lugging around a lot of stuff because it wants you to clear the majority of it before you find that person, before you come into your purpose. It wants you to establish new boundaries before you start a business, because what's going to happen if you start a business and you have no boundaries? People are going to drive all over you like a speed bump. They're going to take advantage of you. It's all interconnected, you guys. All of it. All of it is interconnected. I was at the gym today and I was seeing all these people work out, and it looked like they were getting ready for a war or something. And I asked the 9 in that moment, what are they? Are they preparing for a war? They said somewhat. See, what it is that humans think they're just working on their body. Oh, I want to live a long life. I want to have a nice physical structure. I want to have a beach body. That's a linear statement. There's more that goes into this. Maybe you want to have discipline. Maybe working out helps you align your bodies so that you can eventually become that higher consciousness being that can see everything. You can feel strong enough to say no. But the 9 are also showing me that a lot of people will go to the gym too much, and that can be a reptilian force. That's convincing them that they'll be ugly if they don't go. So they keep going. And they start developing an addiction to it. And guess what? You might look good physically, but spiritually, you have a lot of demons attached to you. Are we going to decide to invest in our higher selves? Or keep gambling, man? Are you going to keep gambling with all these physically focused things? Every day is a new day to wake up and say, universe, I'm ready to invest in the larger picture of reality. And yes, I might have to surrender my ego today. And yes, I may not like that, but I'm willing. I'm going to invest so that I can have a higher vibrational return on my investment. And so many people are out there gambling right now. And I'll probably do a webinar about that, investment versus gambling, because there are a lot of different nuances in that too. But a lot of people are gambling. Oh, I'm panicking. I need to go find my wife or my husband now. Oh, I'm panicking. I have to leave my job now. Yeah, and when you do that from that place, do you think that the extraterrestrials, the Anunnaki or the reptilian forces are going to get a buffet from that? Of course they're going to get a buffet from that. Your highest timeline is directly correlated to being present. Remember that. If you're not present and you're around the dot, okay, you're either hovering above it or you're roaming around it, that point of focus is going to barrage you with all the timelines that see an opportunity like, ooh, yeah, ooh. And then you merge with them and you're no longer in the middle. So pay attention, you guys. Be aware, be alert, question everything. We're moving out of linearity now, and we're moving into neutrality, into multidimensionality. That's the new 5D Earth reality. It's a new way of being. So I love you a lot, and I thank you, everyone, for taking the time to subscribe. It really means a lot to me. As you can see, I'm doing more videos because of it. I want to thank every single person who donated. I really appreciate it. I want to thank everyone who didn't donate because I love you, and it doesn't matter if you can't donate. I want to thank everyone who's commenting and sharing it with your friends or whoever it is that may benefit from these messages. And I will see you in another version of the Now.